Chimrip Hello, this is Khmer TV Real Talk, and we have a special guest with us, a recent hero, Mr. Roger Lee. He saved people 3 times. So I just wanted to welcome you. This is our Khmer law enforcement officer. And so please introduce yourself to our viewer. I know you're Khmer, so you could just address them.
Hi, how are you doing? My name is Officer Roger Lee. I'm a police officer in the county of Los Angeles. I've been a police officer for 20 years and been a force instructor for 15 years.
Oh wow, here in Long Beach or in another city?
In Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles,
Yes.
but Los Angeles County, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So your main office is in LA.
In Los Angeles, correct.
Is there a lot of Cambodian community out there that you run into?
Yes, you know, I would say a lot, but from time to time I do run into some Khmer there and pull them over. And
Do they try to get their way out of the ticket?
always,
Did it work?
sometimes.
Oh, okay, okay. What does it take for it to work? We offer you some pahok or offer you some beef jerky?
No.
Khmer
No, you know, again, depending on the personality and the attitude of the person. You know, there's good people do make mistake. But you know, if you come at me wrong, you're going to deserve that ticket.
Okay.
I see.
Well, today is a perfect time for Roger to be here joining our show because recently there's a stabbing in Garden Grove that I believe killed 4 people and injured 2 people, correct?
I believe
And so I think it's perfect timing for you to joining our show because you're going to show us some move on how to defend ourselves in case there is an attacker with a knife.
Okay.
And also I believe you have another video for us. So thank you so much for being here with us on this perfect day. It's unfortunate, tragic for the family and for the lives that was lost. So not only gun that we're not safe from, but also knife now, which is
That is
so
correct.
sad.
I mean, guns, you have to, you know, you got to go through a background checks and all these other hoops you got to go through. And knives is accessible anywhere.
Yes.
And it's very, very dangerous weapon.
So before we share the video, could you kind of like tell us how did you get into law enforcement? What inspired you? And and especially I saw a lot of your self-defense video on Facebook, so that's why I was inspired to invite you here. And also congratulations on your award yesterday. Your beautiful wife posted, and so we're just so honored and proud to have you here. So share with us, why did you get into law enforcement?
Well, first of all, thank you for bringing me on. I'm happy to be here. And law enforcement is just something that I've always wanted to do. And coming from a family, military family background.
Wow.
Yeah, and just something that just interests me. And most importantly is working together with the family. And before I got to law enforcement, I was already married with my wife. So it's best to, you know, to work together because that career is a very dangerous career.
Yes.
So your spouse or your husband or your wife, you have to agree together and, you know, work together.
Yeah, must be sleepless nights for her.
Oh yeah, you know, I feel bad for her, to be honest with you. And there's times when we make plans.
Yeah.
And I never get the majority of the time we don't come home on time.
Oh.
Yeah. Say you get off at 4:30. That 4:30 is not the time you're gonna get off. You get off, but you have late report, late arrest. That's gonna tie you another 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when we make plans, my wife would say, "Hey, honey, what time are you gonna get off? We'll plan for dinner," and I would miss that dinner at times. Yes.
So how do you balance between work and relationship at home?
I try to balance as much as I can, but the most importantly, the credit that's given to is my family, my wife, my 2 kids.
Yeah.
They tolerate my schedule.
Yes.
So the credits for balancing it is them.
Yeah.
They're the ones who's balancing the life and balancing me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us about the life-saving moments recently. What did you do?
I was on patrol. We got a radio call to a school an officer responded of a young female student, possibly under the influence of some sort of drugs. We got there, she was in the nurse's office, was a school nurse,
Yeah.
but paramedic was on the way. But when I got there, she was going in and out, not breathing,
Wow.
and nurses try to monitor her breathing, and the nurse says, also, Leah, she's not breathing anymore.
Oh,
Yeah, so at that time, I said, well, I'm gonna have to perform a CPR. So I performed CPR, and she was flatline. So I performed CPR, brought her back. Paramedic came, transported her immediately to the hospital.
Oh, wow. So you happened to be right there on
Yeah,
time
I just happened to be,
save her. Wow.
within minutes.
Thank you so much. I'm sure
Thank
her family are
Yes.
grateful.
Yes.
So that's
They were.
wonderful. And congratulations on the award.
Oh,
third time's
Third
the charm.
times.
Wow.
20 years career,
Yeah.
three life-saving medals.
Hopefully, you don't have to, well, I don't know how the right way to say this, but hopefully you don't have to put in a situation where you have to save someone's life, but then at the same time, hopefully you will save more lives, you know, show up at the right time, at the right moment to save more lives. Yes.
Yeah. Videos for you guys. There was training videos was posted, and we were talking. That was my other partner with the Defensive Tactics Unit. We were working on videos on defending against knife attack, edge weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is assuming that the attacker has a knife at you. But how do you advise someone not to be panicked at that moment? Because, yeah, it's easy to, let's say, defend yourself when you're prepared for it and when you're practicing for the video. But usually when that happens in real life, for
You don't expect it,
instance,
right?
the
It's-
security guard who had a handgun
Yeah.
and had a guy coming at him with a knife but was not able to defend himself.
That is
so
correct.
how do you advise someone to not panic, or what is your advice on that?
First of all, you're gonna panic. No matter what, you're gonna panic. If you haven't trained in it, it takes a lot of time, training, and experience. And when a suspect comes at you with a knife or with a gun, it's a very, very dangerous tool. So rule number one, you just comply with the suspect.
Okay.
Whatever the suspect wants, comply. Give them what they want. Generally, that will work, and they'll go away.
Okay.
If you were to defend yourself, you have to train. You have to know what to do.
Okay.
If you don't know what to do, you know your limitation, just don't try anything because you end up hurting yourself more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of scary as a woman, right? You know, we feel like a lot of times we walk alone and things like that. What do you recommend for like female who, you know, in college or we're always walking alone? What should we watch out for? Let our viewer know what should we, you know, kind of be careful of.
Number one, be aware of your surroundings. When you're walking, don't be so focused on your cell phones. This is the year,
No
the era
Facebooking?
of technology. No Facebooking. You know, put your cell
While you're
phones away.
walking.
And you're always looking. It's like you're driving, straight, left, right, maybe behind you. Always be aware of certain sounds, certain things around you.
Like, what kind of sound are you talking about?
Well, anything that
Suspicious.
catches your
Okay.
attention.
Okay.
Yeah, be aware of that. If you think that person is suspicious, that person might be suspicious. Just
Okay.
walk away.
I think also
Trust your
another,
instinct.
yes, that's what I was going to say also, is that trust your instinct. And then I want to get into being spiritual at this moment, is that, you know, there are angels and spirits on the other side who's
Yeah.
always there protecting us. And that instinct that's them letting us know, hey, something is wrong. And
Yes.
trust that instinct.
Trust that instinct.
Because they have the eyes that they can see that we are not able to see. But I want to ask you about the controversial about not being on your phone when you're walking, paying surrounding, because it's kind of like I heard on the other side, you know, says that, you know, it's good if you're on your phone, or some people say, you know, had a headphone on or like a, you know, earphone on, because then most likely you will not be attacked because they're thinking you're on the phone with someone. So
Well,
what do you have to say about that?
There's pros and cons. And my belief as a father
Yes.
and as a police officer, walking is like driving. You have to pay attention to where you're going and what you're doing.
Yes.
Sure.
If you're focusing on your phones, the suspect sees you have a phone, you have something that they want. Whether you're on the phone or not, they're going to take it.
Okay.
And if you do on the phone, you have a headset on, have one on, not both. At least you're going to hear
Okay.
what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's funny because I sent my daughter's video on that, and you know, a woman who was talking said, pretend you're on your phone and have that earphone on, because then they're gonna think that you are, you know, on the phone with someone. And I sent it to my daughter, and she backlashed me and said, the suspects will most likely to attack you because they think you're too busy
Or
on the phone.
distracted, right?
And then
Yeah.
also at the same time,
Right.
that, you know, it's not smart to have the earphone on because you won't be able to hear when a person when
I
so I'm
agree.
like,
She's
okay,
absolutely right.
I
Yeah.
thought I was doing the mother protective way of sending her this video,
Yeah.
how to protect yourself
Yeah.
when you're, but then, you know, my daughter was smarter than me. So
Just use the driving rule.
yeah,
you
well,
can't-
that
yeah.
that is a really good suggestions, because there are people who plunge into death because they're busy on their phone,
Yeah.
and then there's a hole or walk off the cliff or
Absolutely.
walk
I've seen that.
right into a car because
Absolutely.
you know they're too busy on their phone.
Absolutely.
Here's another thing I'm really scared about is school shooting.
Okay.
That, to me, when my daughter was in, I think, elementary school, and there was that one shooting, and she was at the camp, and that crazy guy was like let loose. So that was the moment where I bought her a cell phone. Usually, you know, we don't want to buy a cell phone for kids because you don't want them to be addicted or just spoil them. And then that kind of like really scared me a lot in terms of there's so much shooting going on. And so how do you think when you kids, how should we as parents be, you know, aware of the shootings, and how do we kind of safeguard our kids?
Well, that's a very, very good topic. That's the stuff been going on with all the shootings and
Yeah.
everything. There's a saying of see something, say something.
Okay.
That's very, very important.
Yeah.
You see something, say it.
Okay.
Let others know what's going on. Let adults know what's going on. Let
Okay.
authority know what's going on.
Okay.
Especially with kids, they have all these social media,
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, and all this other stuff that they talk to each other. And your kid saw something on Instagram that their friends or someone posting,
Okay.
holding a gun or something like that, report it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are there certain behaviors that kids, they, you know, there are signs, you know, of these loner kids that are, you know, they exhibit that behavior. Do you see that in your field of work where certain people just look like they might be one of those shooters? Any
There are certain
indication?
signs
Okay.
of in each individual, but I don't want to be biased
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
pinpoint or
Yeah.
that
You
person,
can't,
this
yeah.
person. No, you cannot.
Yes.
Because when they're psychotic, they can do crazy things.
Yeah, and then
You just never know.
sometimes I'm pretty sure that person, you know, probably didn't even plan it a month ago to
Yeah.
have a behavior change. Sometimes it's just snap, you
Right,
know, so
right.
you can't really predict a behavior nowadays
No,
anymore.
you just have to be
so-
aware of what's going on, especially social
Yeah.
media. Just, you know, like I said, if your kids, you see something, say something.
Yeah. So speaking of kids, I hear that it runs in the family. Right.
Yes, law enforcement do run in the family. My
Yeah.
son is also a police officer, 3 years on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Congratulations to your son and to both of you and your wife for, you know, having do this in the family. But then also it's like a gotta be double worried for mom.
Adding more stress to mom. And my
Yes.
daughter, who's 15, is an explorer. She's in the Explorer program with another police department.
Oh boy.
Oh, wow.
You know, I can see the love in your family, you know, because every time I know your wife, and
Yes.
she's a wonderful woman, and so when I try to invite you guys out, she just want to make sure that she's mindful of your schedule and stuff like that. And a lot of family, you know, it's a broken family, but not in your situation because you guys are exceptional. You've been married how long?
Uh-oh, he doesn't know.
I'm counting. I know.
I'm looking at his wife right now. She's about to, huh?
29 years, 30 years.
29,
Wow.
almost
years.
30.
Congratulations.
Are we invited to your anniversary party?
Every day is an anniversary for me.
Yes.
Wonderful.
For sure,
That's a
right?
great way
Coming
to
home,
look at it.
you know.
So, what would you advise for young people to want to get into law enforcement?
First of all, stay in school.
Yes.
Secondly, don't do drugs.
Okay.
Thirdly, listen to your parents
Yeah.
because they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And if they want to get into law enforcement, speak to someone
Okay.
who's in law enforcement so they can guide them.
That's nice.
So, how old would you recommend for them to start?
Well, when they're already in high school, they should already know what they want to do in life, what they want to do in the career. And to be in law enforcement, you have to be at least 21 years of age to even qualify to become a police officer, to start doing the processing, the test, and become a U.S. citizen. And you need to have clean records, no criminal records. They do extensive backgrounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you before we end our show, how do you, maybe because you're practicing with your friend, your buddy, how do you like come home and decompress? I'm sure, you know, it's stressful. You've seen a lot of things. How do you decompress and not take it home? What is your secret?
There's no secret to that. Just experience, years and years of experience. And my wife will tell me, honey, she knows if something is bothering me.
She sees your face.
She sees my
And your
emotion,
energy,
my energy,
right?
what's going on. And we talked all the time. Most importantly is communication. Keep an open communication regarding work. And most police officers will go home. They carry that with them.
Yeah.
And once I take my uniform off, put in the locker, work is
Wow.
done.
In the second video, right?
Sorry.
You're showing how to defend somebody when somebody strangled you with a knife,
Correct.
right? What's really interesting, before we started our show, we were talking about guns and knives,
Sorry.
right? And you said something, and I thought that was interesting. Can you repeat what you said? Like, if you have a gun, you can't use a knife or
Yes.
something like that.
Well,
If your attacker comes
Yeah.
with the gun,
Yeah.
I mean with a knife, and you have a
Okay.
gun,
yes, it's very important because if someone has an edge weapon, which is a knife or sharp object,
Yeah.
if the momentum is going to come at you and they want to attack you, the sharp if the person within arm's reach, they're going to get to you before you
Right.
get to your gun.
Okay.
Makes sense.
In law enforcement there's a rule of the 21-foot rule.
Okay.
Yeah. So within that range, the officer can react and take the weapon out of the holster and assess the situation
Right.
or take the suspect
Okay.
out. But generally, yeah, you got to be proficient with your hands and how to
Okay.
protect yourself.
So and last thing is, how did you get so good with self-defense? Was that something you work over time? Are you a specialist on that?
Yes.
Wow. I saw the video.
I've been, again, in law enforcement for 20 years. I've been doing
Okay.
martial arts about 40 years now,
Okay.
since I was young.
Okay. Martial arts.
It's just a passion that I like,
Okay.
that I love. Martial arts, work, combined with family. We always train together. My son, we train together.
Wow. And your daughter
too? Train her too.
So in terms of martial art, I watch a lot of those movies with my husband, with Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
It's close. I like that, the close combat.
yes,
Is
close-
that the kind? I love that.
Keanu,
really close and-
actually
okay.
train him for the movies.
I love that.
They train him how to shoot and how to fight for the movies.
Close range,
Close
right?
range.
And what do you call that?
What he trained
like
was
military.
he trained under Brazilian
Yes.
Jiu-Jitsu. He
Uh-huh.
trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
And also he trained Krav Maga,
Okay.
from what I understand.
That's it. That's
yes.
pretty tough.
Yes.
That is bad.
Yes, okay. So I noticed both of the videos you have for us is that it's a man how to protect himself.
Yes.
But do you have any videos of a woman self-defending?
Same concept.
Same concept.
Same concept.
Well,
all the
aren't we
system, I keep it
weaker,
in
though?
one.
I would like for you to show a video of, a woman that is not so strong, a typical daily woman,
Okay.
a small petite woman,
Like me.
And show the man,
Right.
the attacker that is, so that way we know what to prepare, or we know how to say, hey, you know what? Hey, if she can defend herself and he looked like that, then that means I need to power up and defend myself. I can do that too. But if it's a man and a man, that's easy, right?
it's the same concept how I teach. I teach hundreds of officers, hundreds of civilians.
Okay.
We keep the same concept. Doesn't matter, again, number one, depending on your training and experience, know your limitation. If you can't handle that situation,
Yeah.
just let it go, walk
Oh,
away.
okay.
That $1,000 iPhone or your wallet, it can be replaced.
It's not worth your life.
It's not worth your life. It can be replaced. But if you have to defend yourself, you have to do what you got to do, then you have to act immediately.
Yeah.
And that's when it come into training and repetition of a lot of training.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Wow.
it could be any size.
Well, thank you so much for driving so far,
Yes.
stuck in traffic to
know.
just be on our show. But hopefully you can come back and show us some other moves.
For
and,
sure.
Because there are not just women, but there are some men out there who I'm pretty sure can use and how to defend ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're really honored and proud of you as the Khmer person here coming to our show, because just there's so many violence out there, and just knowing that there's something that we can address or help our viewer out there to know that there's things that we can do to kind of protect ourselves and be aware of our
Yes,
environment.
most importantly, yes.
Especially like last thing is if somebody's following you,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
As when what I'm afraid of is road rage. So
Okay.
I'm particularly careful not to cause road rage, because it's scary, right?
Well, yeah, that's another topic on that.
Yep.
That we can
Yes,
talk about.
that's-
We'll
Yeah.
talk about
Another
road rage.
topic, another
Yes.
day.
Yes,
Another day.
yes.
So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for watching Real Talk with Khmer TV.
ជំរាបលា
ជំរាបលា. Oh my God.